Good afternoon, 20th January 21. Corporate Social Responsibility Podcast free. There is goodwill, which is the value of a brand, of a sector, a competitor, like Google, the map, Microsoft encyclopedias. Yes, this podcast and YouTube is for you to get the goodwill of the governments. It's a win-win situation. Let's brand ourselves with the value of this goodwill. Where can we find it? If we listen to this podcast today whilst we're running, swimming, then we can clearly for free find out that in the associations we know how to get the utility, the intrinsic value, the light, taking over the goodwill of the dark side. We know what strategies they have in the statutes, in the elections, in the accounts. They can falsify like the consuls here in Bilbao, but we can really get their goodwill and then we can put it in our backpack. Yes, this is this podcast about. What is going to happen? A lot of ship owners, a lot of companies already are starting to adjust wages to inflation, 6%. Now, governments are not going to do that because they are going bankrupt. Well, that's not the real true reason. The real true reason about your goodwill, dear government, is that your efficiency is 1%. So, how can you increase 6% wages if your inefficiency is 99%? Of course you cannot. Now, how can you get Generation Z and millennials work for the government? It's not possible because you will never be able to adjust inflation. You generated this inflation by printing money, by getting debt, and now you are getting really these yields of bonds increase, making things worse. Therefore, now this podcast is your place to listen and to think about how can I train myself? How can I get into my backpack your government's goodwill for free? Yes, this is the channel. Like and subscribe it. Invest in yourself. You can hear, listen Spanish, listen English. You can hear, learn how to get yourself into associations and be the president of any association and take the dark side out of business and get the goodwill. It's for free. Go and get it. Yes. We can do this by disruptions. We can do this by really listening to this podcast. We can be experts in maritime, in labor relations, experts in Generation Z, Gen Z, millennials, how to add value. We can learn Spanish and English in this podcast alone. We don't need to go to any academies, and we can find out how some governments are entering into the selection and training, which is conflict of interest, like Panama, into selection of crews. We can also get other countries. In Spain, also governments enter into that area. They enter into the museums. They enter into 50,000 public buildings worth 300 billion and not paying pensions with that. They entering into 1 trillion pieces of art. This is the channel to find out that don't ever study law because judges never get really this virus one criteria. The virus has beat us. Therefore, can we beat small and medium companies 90% employment? Of course not. That we can only do if we take the goodwill, the dark side. So all the areas of interests of judges are going to our backpack. Lawyers, everything to do with that sector is done. Notaries still exist. Some countries, some do not. This is the tendency. They are making things very clear, the dark side, because it's not independent. So here you can really learn and listen what else to do sports or swim, whatever you wish, in 2 languages. Like, subscribe. Nice weekend. Thank you. Bye.